Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here from the Galileo Control Center, Germany in Oberpfaffenhofen. Welcome to a wake-up call with Galileo. After a wonderful launch of two new satellites of the Galileo family, we now want to take a look behind the scenes, talking about the next steps in the very sensible phase of LEOP, and talking about the international collaboration that makes Galileo possible. And I'm very happy to have in this moment with me Christian Hessmann. Welcome, Christian. Christian is within the DLR GFR responsible for the Galileo operations. And I do appreciate very much that you came here just some hours after the launch. It's a very busy time now for you, so thank you for being here. Christian, two new babies for the Galileo family. How's their condition? Everything hale and hearty?
At the moment, everything is nominal. We had a nominal separation from the launcher, which we're quite happy about. It seems to be that we are in the nominal orbit. And the first health checks look promising. We are now performing the next checks to see whether everything is as expected. But so far, we are looking at a very nominal LEOP.
Sounds very good. And what about your team and you? Can you describe the emotional atmosphere within the team?
Well, of course, I mean, for them, the atmosphere is something special. I mean, independent of the age or the experience of the people, for them, a LEOP is something really exciting that happens not very often in their career. Yeah? So from our perspective, during a LEOP, you're not just following procedures. You're basically working in real time with the spacecraft during its most fragile state. And you have to make sure that you understand it well enough, that you understand your work well enough to really do the right things at the right point in time. Overall, a LEOP takes 9 days, 10 days, 11 days, without a weekend, every day on shift. That's a huge toll on the person. But still, every time we go into a LEOP and we ask for the teams and we do the team nominations, we have more volunteers for positions than we actually can fill within the shifts. So we have to turn down people. We have to promise them to go for another LEOP at some point in time because, well, they're all excited. They all want to experience this first breathtaking moment where you wait for the first acquisition, where you wait, do I receive the signal or not?
Sounds very exciting. Can you give us an idea about the different phases of the Galileo LEOP?
Of course. So directly after the separation from the launcher, the spacecraft turns on itself. It does its first health checks on itself. It tries, or it will deploy the solar panels. At that point in time, we do have a chance to say, okay, sorry, we have to wait for something. If we don't say anything, and if we just monitor everything, it will, at that point in time, then turn the solar panels towards the sun. Everything will be nominal at that point in time, most hopefully. And this is when we start our checks, when we start to see the spacecraft subsystems. Is everything going well? Are the reaction wheels, for example, working as we expect them to do? Things like that. That takes a couple of hours, sometimes even a couple of days. After that, we will then move into the phase where we go into the so-called nominal mode, where we turn the spacecraft body itself so that its payload antennas are looking towards the Earth. We call that, as I said, transition into nominal mode. And at that point in time, we do more checks. We make sure everything within the spacecraft is nominal. As soon as that has been reached, we then do the boost, which is basically let's say, a small activation of the main engine to then let the spacecraft drift over a couple of days, a lot of days actually, into its final orbit. And during that maneuver, during that drift, we do the final checkout of all the subsystems of the satellite. And well, at that point in time, LEOP is finished. The official part of LEOP is finished, but we still have a lot of work in front of us. We still do all the in-orbit testing. We still do all of these things that are necessary to make them a part of our fleet.
But maybe then a free weekend may be possible for one or the other of your team.
Exactly.
So how does the team handle any challenges or unexpected situation that may arise during a low Earth orbit phase?
Well, we do have a lot of simulations in advance of that. So they are aware not only of a nominal LEOP, but they're also aware of anything that could happen during a LEOP and any kind of contingency. I don't want to say all, because that's one of the exciting bits. There might be, hopefully not, but there might be contingencies which we are not prepared for. That makes it exciting. But on the other hand, they are very well trained. They really know their things. They're experts. They're trained on top of that. And if we do have contingencies, Maybe it's a contingency we already trained for. So at that point in time, basically the whole control room says, okay, let's switch to that scenario and let's continue with that. If it's something we don't know, we still have more general procedures which allow us to put, let's hope it's just one of the spacecrafts into a more stable state so that we have time to analyze the situation and decide commonly on a way forward.
You already talked about the team spirit. So we know from sports that a successful team is much more than the sum of the expertise of every player. So how are the team dynamics?
I mean, LEOP is where everyone comes together. I mean, it's not just, at that point in time, it's not just GFR in the control room, it's the whole Galileo family. So right now, we have in the control rooms people from GFR, from Telespazio, from Spaceopal, from USPA, our customer, from ESA, the design authority, and from OHB, the spacecraft manufacturer. And they're all working for a common goal, to have a smooth LEOP and to have, to at some point in time introduce 2 new members into our fleet. And I mean, there has to be a certain hierarchy, obviously. We have a mission director, he's in charge of everything, he's in charge of the operations. But since everyone who is part of the LEOP team has their own expertise and has expertise which other people might not have, the mission director has to take that into account. They ask each of their members of the LEOP team for their opinions, they ask them, they have voices, they are heard, yeah? And only after the mission director has all of this really sorted out, at that point in time a decision is being made. And that's the spirit of a LEOP, and that's why it's so great.
Christian Hessmann, again, thank you very much indeed for joining us right now, and good luck and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we look to Prague, where the USPA is located, the European Union Agency for Space Program. And as we all know, Galileo is one of the most important EU space programs. Let's hear what the executive director wants to convey to us. Rodrigo da Costa.
Good morning. Today, the latest batch of Galileo satellites is now being operated by the USPA team and the Galileo service operator for the early orbit phase from the Galileo Control Center in Oberpfaffenhofen. Let's celebrate a key moment in the Galileo mission and underscore the unwavering dedication and cooperative spirit that define the European Union space program. This robust collaboration between us, the European Commission, the European Space Agency, and the Galileo service operator, Spaceopal, led to the success of today. From the Galileo Control Center, nestled in Oberpfaffenhofen in Germany, to the far reaches of space, where our satellites now traverse, our teams have worked tirelessly to ensure the seamless transition of these satellites into their operational orbits. Everyone involved, from the engineers meticulously creating the satellite components to the operators orchestrating their movements, has played a key role in bringing us to this historic moment. I extend my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you. Your commitment, your passion, your perseverance have propelled us forward on this extraordinary journey. A special thanks, of course, to my colleagues at USPA. Your unwavering dedication and tireless effort during this campaign is instrumental in achieving this milestone. Together, we have navigated through challenges, overcome obstacles, and emerged stronger. Galileo is more than just a constellation of satellites. It is a beacon of innovation, security, and progress. It empowers billions of users worldwide, enabling precise navigation, enhancing transportation efficiency, and facilitating disaster response efforts. The users of Galileo rely on its secure and reliable services daily, supporting European Union strategic autonomy and key initiatives like the Green Deal and the digital transition. As we move forward, let's maintain our close collaboration to ensure the success of future Galileo missions. While today marks the first step of this new Galileo mission, let's resist the temptation to become complacent. Instead, let's redouble our efforts, renew our commitment, and continue pushing the boundaries of innovation. Together, we will build upon this success and pave the way for a brighter future. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Rodrigo da Costa. And now it's a privilege to have with me the CEO of Spaceopal. Spaceopal is a joint venture by DLR, GFR and Telespazio and the prime contractor for the operational service of Galileo, and the CEO is Marco Foligno. Marco, it's great to have you here with us. Welcome. What does it mean, prime contractor for the operational service?
Good. First of all, thank you for your kind introduction. And let me first express my personal satisfaction for the successful separation of the two Galileo spacecraft from the launcher. And let's say that in the coming weeks and months will be, of course, our main responsibility to make them becoming part of the big Galileo family. So now, coming back to your question. First of all, I would say that being the Galileo service operator prime contractor is an enormous responsibility, but at the same time is, let's say, mainly for all of us an honor, because we have the possibility to contribute to this great European success story that is Galileo, that, as you know, is the best navigation system in the world today. So let's say that also let me underline on this result has been achieved also thanks to a very good level of cooperation and partnership and support with all the involved stakeholders, in particular the European Commission, USPA, and ESA. Now, as a Galileo service operator, we have the full end-to-end responsibility to maintain, operate, and evolve the Galileo system. Galileo system that allow us to provide also navigation services, precise timing, and enhancing position to more than 4 billion users worldwide. To give you an idea of the complexity that we have to manage, let's consider that the Galileo infrastructure is composed by 28, by the way, 30 from today, satellites in orbit. We have roughly 100,000 interconnected assets on ground, deployed on 2 control centers here in Oberpfaffenhofen, in Italy, in Fucino. Then we have the service center in Medit, and we have also many remote sites distributed worldwide. Let's say that hundreds, also in addition to that, hundreds of highly skilled and professional staff are involved. Thousands of operational procedures have been designed and implemented. Of course, business and service continuity plan have been developed and are enforced to execute nominal operation, but also to cope with not nominal ones, mitigating related risk, but always ensuring the right level of services as needed.
And you do this since 2009. Spaceopal has managed the Galileo service for 15 years up to now. So is the work, are the challenges the same as they have been in 2009, or is there anything different?
Yeah, sure. A lot changes since 2009, but let me say that 2024 is really a very special year for Spaceopal, since we are going to celebrate our 15th anniversary. And let's say, because as you said, Spaceopal has been founded in 2009 as a joint venture by Telespazio and the GFR. Since the beginning, let's say, Spaceopal has gradually and significantly evolved to provide today and unique and strong, let's say, service, operation, and maintenance commitment to our customer. Let's say that as a remarkable step in the success story, in 2016, Spaceopal has been entrusted to become the so-called Galileo service operator, allowing us to employ all the measure capability in the company spanning from overall management, operation and service engineering, system maintenance, and others. Let's say that, let me mention also a key aspect of this success story that was also the contractual approach adopted for the Galileo program. That, let's say, foreseen the full transfer of responsibility, as I said, to the operator, to Spaceopal. And this, such approach proved to be extremely solid or resilient, especially during the last few years, because, let's say, despite the COVID pandemic and also the many international crises, the overall Galileo performance have not been degraded or affected at all.
And now, today, 2 more Galileo satellites, number 29 and 30. Is this just routine?
Yeah, not really. We are not going to have 2 new satellites every day. But of course, let's say a long preparatory activities have been performed in the last months, because now we are in a very critical phase, that is the LEOP-1 launch early orbit phase. And so we are prepared for this phase, and I'm fully convinced that we will accomplish our duty at best also, let's say, in the next months in order to bring the satellite in orbit.
We are now just some hours after the launch. At what time will you relax, recognizing that these new babies has become adult members of the constellation family?
For sure, not very soon, not in the next hours or days, because let's say at least after the successful completion of the LEOP phase, let's say that is expected in 1 or 2 weeks from now. Then after that, another crucial phase will be to check the healthy status, the integrity of the 2 new satellites, so that they can enter into service also in the view of the full operational capability of the system.
Thank you very much indeed for the moment, Marco Foligno. It will be a pleasure to have you here again at the end of our event. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you.
And now I'm happy to have the opportunity to talk to Rolf Koslowski, because he's arriving just in the moment. Rolf, feel free to join me here. Rolf is, hello, nice to see you here just some hours after the launch. Rolf is the managing director, one of the shareholders of Spaceopal, which is DLR GFR. Welcome, Rolf. Rolf, a successful launch is one thing, but the LEOP, the launch early orbit phase, it's another story. Christian Hessmann already delivered an impressive insight to us some minutes ago. So what does this mean for you?
I think, as Christian said, the LEOP is the most critical part of the early satellite's lifetime, and it's really amazing for the program. It's also very, very important. It's a milestone, because we get 2 new satellites, navigation satellites, in our constellation, and that's where we are striving for.
And now, as you said, a very sensible moment in the Galileo mission, LEOP, from your point of view as managing director, which requirements your team, the DLR GFR team, had to meet?
I think that's a very good question. Thank you for that. We have a big team in the control rooms, in the back office, all the people helping in this very important moments. They trained for a very long time. They had enormously many simulations, rehearsals, and so on, just to prepare for this moment, for getting a good feeling for the satellites, for unexpected events, and so on. So it's really amazing.
So is there anyone you would like to say thank you today?
First of all, as I mentioned, the team, of course. I think they did a good job, an excellent job, but also our partners and our customers like USPA or the European Commission, who have full trust in our capabilities.
And we all know the next Galileo launch is already planned. So thank you very much for joining us so quickly. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. So what is needed before a launch, a successful launch? My next guest knows this very well. And I'm happy to be here now with Tarek Stolzenberg. Tarek, good to have you here. Which role do you have within this specific launch?
So I have actually two different roles. So my first role is the one of the LEOP manager. So there I am in charge of preparing all different activities leading to a successful launch. And my second role is the mission director, where I'm leading the operations team on console during the actual LEOP.
Let's talk about the preparation, the long time of preparation, I suppose. When did your work on this launch start, and what kind of milestones had to be achieved in the preparation of this launch?
Yes, so there is actually a lot to do before we can actually launch. So the preparations typically start half a year before the actual launch. So there are two different milestones in between the start of the preparations and the actual launch. This is the OVRR, so the Operations Validation Readiness Review. At this point in time, we check that all preparations have been done to start the validation of the actual LEOP campaign. So this includes the teams that need to be ready. This includes the operational products, so for example, procedures that need to be written beforehand, and also the infrastructure, of course, so the control system, the networks, and so on. After the OVRR has passed, we start with the validation. So this is done, first of all, just validating elements. So like single procedures, so an engineer is sitting on console and validating a procedure against a simulator.
And this, I think, will lead to the operational readiness review. Is this the most important step in the preparation phase?
Yes, so actually this is the point in time where we can decide if everything is settled for a launch and if we are prepared to go. So at this point of time, we go through all the different elements again, infrastructure, teams, training, status, operational products, and if all is okay at this point in time, we give the go for the launch.
And did your team also exercise contingencies in the launch preparation phase?
So there's a dedicated simulation campaign, which is happening between the OVRR and the ORR. And during this simulation campaign, the full LEOP team is exercising also contingencies, very different ones. We try to focus on the typical ones and leave out the more exotic ones. But after we have passed the sim campaign, everybody is well aware of the things that could happen and is able to react to such a contingency.
And how did you folks learn how to handle this stuff? I mean, you can't go to a bookstore and buy a book how to prepare a satellite launch.
Yes.
You can write this book now.
Probably we can write this book now. There are different elements contributing to this. So first of all, we have in our team very experienced people who joined already several LEOPs before in the past. Second important element are the routine operations. So this is not just the first launch of a unique mission, but we are day by day operating the full Galileo constellation, and there are some similarities between the LEOP operations and LEOP operations where we can profit from. And then, of course, we do a very good training program, as I mentioned before, with the simulation campaign, and this is enabling us to be ready for a LEOP with a very good quality.
And now, after the successful launch, holidays, Bahamas?
This would be very nice, but there will be another launch later this year. So after LEOP is before LEOP. So after L12 is completed, we start straight away with the preparation of the next launch.
So good luck for this. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Tarek Stolzenberg.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Galileo satellites are nourished by two nurses, the Galileo Control Center Germany here in Oberpfaffenhofen and the Galileo Control Center Italy within the Fucino Space Center. And I'm very happy to be connected now to the Telespazio Director of the Fucino Space Center, Gianni Ricobono. Gianni, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, Uli, I perfectly hear you. Good morning to you, good morning to everybody. It's really a pleasure for me to participate to this nice event from here, from Fucino Space Center. I'm in a Galileo Control Center, Italy.
Mr. Ricobono, we have a lot of nurses around the Galileo cradle. We have USPAR, we have DLR, GFR, we have Spaceopal. Which role does Telespazio and which role does the Fucino Space Center play?
Yes, the role of Telespazio in Galileo, it's very important. It's very important to be part of this incredible European mission. The activities start more than 70 years ago, and in these 70 years becomes one very important part of the Fucino Space Center. Not only for the infrastructure, here there are 3 buildings that host the Galileo systems, but also for the people, for the person that work in Galileo Control Center. And we, of course, are very happy that for the success of this launch, that will increase what we do for Galileo. And we are really now waiting for starting for the operation that we do here immediately after that. The LEOP will be fully accomplished by our colleague from GFR.
Well, there's a lot of routine at the Fucino Space Center. I think you have 42 control rooms. Anyhow, how important is a day like this with a successful launch? How important is it for Telespazio and for you?
Yes, Yuli, let me say that many of these 42 control rooms are here in the Galileo Control Center. This gives you an idea of the dimension of this within this Fucino Space Center. It's a large infrastructure, and there are dedicated teams, Telespazio dedicated teams that operate within this center. This for the importance of the mission. All the other activities are managed with a different approach, but Galileo needs to have dedicated infrastructure and dedicated teams. It is for us something that within the mission of the Telespazio. Telespazio was born to provide services, provide telecommunication services at the beginning, and for us now it's very important to be part of this mission in providing navigation services that are today used by everybody. And the launch of these 2 satellites will move towards the completion of the constellation and to reach the full operational capability of the system. So then we will have the possibility to provide these services to everybody, to the member states, and we are really very proud to be within this program. And considering also the future, of course, so we are preparing the center for the 2nd generation of Galileo, and let me also mention another important incoming program that is IRIS². Here in Fucino Space Center will be hosted one of the control center. So the European part of the center will increase, and Fucino Space Center, that was born as an Italian infrastructure, becomes even more an European important infrastructure, and we are very proud of this.
Thank you very much, Gianni Ricobono. Thank you indeed. And we have another man in Fucino. He's the Spaceopal Galileo Service Provision Manager. And yeah, I can see him on the monitor already. Welcome, Pierluigi Fedeli.
Thanks, Yuli. Good morning to everyone.
Pierluigi, please give us an idea, especially after the successful Galileo launch, how's the collaboration between you and Fucino and the GCC Germany here in Oberpfaffenhofen?
So one of the most critical phases, that is the separation, went out very well. Let me join to the congratulations to the ops team involved. As per Spaceopal setup, this phase, the LEOP, the first part, is in charge to DLR GFR team that is on console on GCCD. And then we will continue with the rest of involvement also from the other center. But let me spend some words about the preparation of the LEOP and the IoT. That is a very challenging and long activity that has to be done in preparation of the launch. This involves a reconfiguration of the entire asset of Galileo on ground. I'm talking about the GCCD in Oberpfaffenhofen, the GCCI in Fucino, the GSC in Madrid. Also, all the remote sites that we have worldwide has to be configured in order to be ready to welcome the new satellites that are arriving. This is a very huge activity for which that involve all the team for precise scheduling, operational product review, simulation and test that land in a final end-to-end test directly with the satellite and the two control centers, GCCI and GCCD, when the satellites are still on ground and just before are transferred to the launch pad. So this is the huge work that has been done by all team. This is the result that we are observing now. We have a lot of work to do yet in order to arrive to the entry into service the satellite. But what I want to remark is that what we can say here that the key words are collaboration and coordination. And this is what has been done. And we see now the result.
And now, which steps need to be taken until you can say that these satellite babies that has been launched now are adult members of the Galileo constellation?
Okay, thanks for the question. So the LEOP will be completed in more or less 7 or 8 days. We're moving from the separation to the start of drift maneuver that will take several weeks. In parallel, we will start with the platform commissioning. So we are going to fully activate the satellite on the platform side in order to test all the subsystem on board. At a certain point, also the payload will be involved. In this phase, the GCCI team here, the Telespazio from the control room that you see on my back, we will start the operation and contribute actively to the IoT phases and the IoT test. What is important is that for the payload and clock reconfiguration, the mission starts to play a fundamental role in order to have at the end the running of all the possible configuration on board and stabilize to the final one. At that stage, the payload will be activated, and the good news is that from that moment, the user will be notified by the existing of these two new babies, as you said, because we will see the signal in space dummy broadcasted by the new satellite. This is dummy because it will be self-generated on board. It will not be a real navigation message, but it's important because the user will have, on their receiver, they will see that we have 2 additional satellites. Then what is important is that this signal in space, even if dummy will be collected through the different GSS sensor stations that we have worldwide, we have 14 sites with the 2 antennas for each site, they will collect the data, tracking the satellite, and forward to GCCI, here where I am. There is the system that takes in consideration this file, and at a certain point reach the convergence, and for the first time, we will generate the first navigation, Galileo navigation message, valid for the 2 new satellites. And immediately after, we will plan, after the verification that this message, new message, is in spec, we will be authorized to, with a dedicated uplink, to uplink to this new satellite. Immediately after the satellite will broadcast the navigation message, the user will see the transition between the dummy to the navigation data valid, even if this message will be flagged artificially by us as in test. This is important because we have to protect the user by the fact that they cannot use this new signal, since the satellites are still under IoT test, under an orbital test. Then we need another 1 week, 10 days to complete the configuration on board. At that stage, we consider from mission site the satellite fully operational. We have a nominal operation on that as we do for the rest of the constellation. The flag is still in test, waiting our customer USPA and the commission authorized to remove the flag and put the satellite in service. When this authorization arrives, we will easily remove from here, from one of the system here, the SHS in test, this flag in test, and we put it in healthy. This means that from that moment, these two satellites start providing the Galileo navigation service. So we have additional 2 satellites that provide service for the user. In the last formal step will be, by Spaceopal, we will publish a NAGU that notify to the user formally in our website that we have a usability NAGU, so the satellites are formally in service from that moment.
Thank you very much, Pierluigi Fedeli. Thanks to Fucino. All the best and take care. And now Marco Foligno is back with me. Thanks for joining me again, Marco. Now that we heard mostly all the voices of expertise, of knowledge, of passion for Galileo, what is your conclusion for today?
But let's say, first of all, let me express once again my personal satisfaction for the successful separation of the 2 spacecraft. Of course, we are fully committed to support the next hours, days, weeks, and months to support the full operational capability of the constellation. Of course, from now on, will be our own responsibility to bring the 2 satellites in their final orbit, that is 23,000 kilometers above our Earth. I'm really proud of the great result, and let me thanks again all the involved team, Spaceopal, GFR and Telespazio, but also once again the institution, European Commission, USPA and ESA for the continuous support.
And after the launch, also is before the launch. We're looking forward to the next one. Thanks again, Marco Foligno. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not quite at the end yet, because in Italy and in Germany, Galileo is a very important project as well for the political institutions.
The Galileo program represents an enormous achievement in collaboration and innovation. Italy, alongside our partners in Germany, has played a pivotal role in shaping the success story of Galileo, contributing to the creation of a sovereign, independent and resilient satellite navigation system. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to ESA, USPA and Spaceopal for their solid dedication and hard work, which has contributed immensely to the success of the EU's Galileo program. Thanks to our collective efforts, Galileo has become an example of European excellence, providing accurate and reliable navigation services to billions of users around the world. As we celebrate the successful launch of 2 new satellites, let us also look to the future. Italy remains committed to further advancing the Galileo program, exploring new horizons and expanding its capabilities to benefit humanity. Together, let us continue to write the next chapters of this remarkable success story. Together, we can navigate the future with Galileo.
Many innovations on the ground would be impossible without our helpers in orbit. For example, satellites are the foundation for modern communications as well as automated and connected driving. They deliver vital data for weather forecasts and track changes in our climate and environment. They also make precise navigation possible thanks to Galileo, our European satellite navigation system. The successful launch of 2 new satellites is a major milestone for Galileo. These 2 satellites, which are now orbiting Earth at an altitude of 23,000 kilometers, complete the existing constellation. They will play a key role in ensuring the stability of our Galileo system and the continued availability of the services. Now not only citizens around the world can count on the Galileo satellites to deliver highly dependable and precise navigation, positioning and time signals, European armed forces and security services can too. This launch was therefore an important step, one that marks another successful cooperation between European institutions, EU member states and this time also our US partners. Many thanks to everyone who made this milestone a reality. And my regards to Oberpfaffenhofen, Fucino and Florida.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining this exciting event. Allow me to extend our traditional Bavarian greeting of Grüß Gott. Today sees the launch of 2 Galileo satellites, a notable milestone in the expansion and improvement of our EU-based global satellite navigation system. This represents a major step toward full operational capability across all Galileo services. Accordingly, I am honored to express our congratulations and our appreciation on behalf of the Bavarian state government to the companies who have been involved in the operation and development of the Galileo satellite constellation, to the EU Agency for the Space Programme, to the European Space Agency and to the European Commission. With Spaceopal, the DLR Space Applications Institute, OHB System AG and Airbus, we have key companies and pioneers in satellite navigation established right here in Bavaria. These organizations play central roles in making Galileo one of the most highly precise and reliable satellite navigation systems in the world. Their expertise and innovation have been and continue to be indispensable to the success of this large-scale project. Their work has not only strengthened European sovereignty in satellite navigation, it has made possible a number of applications which are now improving the lives of many people every day. From high-precision navigation services to fields like agriculture, transportation and rescue services. Galileo's impact is wide-ranging and of huge value, not least as a basis for the business models of many companies found in Bavaria, Germany and Europe alike. Bavaria recognized the importance of Galileo at an early stage and advocated for the control center to be seated in Oberpfaffenhofen. It is from there that Galileo operations are monitored and controlled, and navigation services provided with utmost reliability. This happens in close collaboration with the partner hub in Fucino and the user service center in Madrid. Bavaria continues to invest in further development for Galileo. The Galileo Competence Center independently analyzes the performance of Galileo services whilst also considering other GNSS. It develops new ideas and works with private industry to get new technologies major for deployment. In close cooperation with Germany's federal government, Bavaria is investing our 25 million euros in a new building. This building will provide a venue where the experts at Galileo can be joined by external parties from academia and science, as well as industry representatives to work on new technologies. Additionally, Bavaria's Ministry of Economic Affairs and Germany's Federal Ministry for Digital and Transport are working to ensure that the second Galileo generation will also be controlled from Oberpfaffenhofen. That would make it possible to benefit not only from the infrastructure already in place, but also from all the valuable experience and expertise which have been garnered here, and that in turn will secure substantial local value creation for this lighthouse project over the long term. We strongly believe it is worthwhile for Bavaria to continue investing in expansion of the Galileo infrastructure for the future. Doing so is vital for further advancing our appeal to high-tech industries as a base for operating their businesses. Bavaria is a reliable partner in and for Europe. With a view to network effects, let us bear in mind that these investments will benefit not only Bavaria, but indeed the whole of Europe. To be sure, Galileo will remain a flagship for European cooperation in the future as well. Finally, I'd like to express our sincere appreciation once again to all the companies and institutions for their valuable contributions and also to reaffirm our interest in mutual cooperation for the future. Thank you.
The new Galileo satellites are on the move to their orbit, but we, for the moment, did reach our finishing line. A wake-up call with Galileo. Thank you very much for your interest. Have a good day.